Saving Nehru isn't enough. Varen's deeds have changed the world. I cannot hear the last essence at all, but it must be somewhere in Labrina. This is Legendary Adventures, a Legend of Zelda playthrough podcast. This week we're venturing into unexplored territory to find an ancient tomb and collect the final essence of time. For the first time, the Maku tree doesn't give us any direction on where to find the next essence. And as we swim away from Jabu Jabu, we also do not get an appearance from Ralph. Instead, a Zora stops us and thanks us for cleaning the seas and setting things right. This Zora gives us the Zora's symbol of heroism, the Zora scale. This time we are truly left to find the next dungeon on our own. I wasn't sure where to find it, so I decided to do the thing that just seemed most logical to me, and check out areas of my map that had not been filled in yet. There really weren't many places in the present that I had not visited, but there were areas of the sea that I hadn't seen. That included the area surrounded by whirlpools near the center of the map. This is the Sea of Storms. I knew from past exploration of the area that there was a Zora somewhere in that vicinity who was guarding the entrance to the whirlpool-filled area. Previously, that Zora told me they would not let a kid like Link past, so I decided to try again. We find this Zora in the past on the southwest corner of the Sea of Storms. The Zora again tells us it cannot let us pass, but quickly changes their tune after seeing the Zora scale. The Zora leaves and we enter the Sea of Storms. Inside the Sea of Storms, a pirate ship sails in endless circles. We can board the ship and discover it's crewed by a group of living skeletons. It quickly becomes clear that they're trapped inside the Sea of Storms. The captain tells us they would be able to get out if they had the Zora scale. He offers to trade us a Tokay eyeball for it. It's not as morbid as it sounds. The eyeball is actually a jewel in the shape of a large, round, red eye. We're told it will open the way to the ancient ruins. We make that trade. The pirates escape from the storm, but not before pointing us to Crescent Island. During our first visit to Crescent Island, Link was told that someone like him opened the mouth of the Tokay Guardian in the past. The Guardian is a massive stone head that served as the entrance to the third dungeon, Moonlit Grotto, in the present. I never actually made any attempt to open the mouth on my first visit. It's just already open in the present. I wondered if I should travel to the past to attempt to open it, but I never did. It did stay in the back of my mind the entire playthrough, however. The first thing I did upon reaching Crescent Island was to make a beeline straight for the Guardian in the past. I realized as I approached it, it was missing an eye. The one eye it has is clearly a round red jewel, a second Tokay eyeball. Placing the eyeball we got from the pirates opens the mouth of the Guardian. Is this the ancient ruin spoken of by the pirate captain? No, it's not. It's not the Moonlit Grotto either. Instead, we find a cave. A voice speaks to us as soon as we step inside. Show your courage, wisdom, and power. The road to the past shall then open. In the cave, we fight Gibdo, dodge spike traps, hardhat beetles, and deal with bats as we attempt to navigate an invisible path. I'm not a big fan of these invisible path segments in the game. The paths are always narrow, and I'm not aware of any way to reveal them like we saw in A Link to the Past. The invisible paths in that game could be revealed by lighting torches and using some magic spells. Here again, I just made a block with the Cane of Samaria. I would push it ahead of me, and I knew to stop when it fell into the void. That was the idea anyway. I still fell multiple times. I used the Switch Online Rewind function to help me get through this segment. Near the end of the path, I could see the exit, so I just used Pegasus Seeds and Rock's Feather to jump to it. I assume I skipped a portion of the invisible path by doing it this way. On the other side of the cave, we find a maze of ruins in the same location as the Yol graveyard in the present. The maze is infested with Lynels and Darknuts, some of the strongest enemies in the game. I was low on hearts when I arrived, so I tried to travel back to the present to restock, but a mysterious force prevents time travel in this part of the map. So I ended up dying as I first tried to navigate through the maze. But I restarted with roughly half my hearts filled, and I was able to make it through a second time. At the end of the maze, we reach the dungeon, the ancient tomb. The music of the ancient tomb begins with deep bass notes, creating a sense of unease. The melody is played twice before the bass drops out and a pattern of higher and lower notes carries us back to the start. This theme is relatively short, clocking in at about 24 seconds before restarting. It's not the shortest in the game, it's not the longest either. Thankfully, I did not get annoyed by this music. The ancient tomb spans 4 floors. It's easily the largest dungeon we've tackled in Oracle of Ages to this point. The floors don't create any particular shape. There are 3 square rooms. They are the first floor, second floor, and fourth floor. The first and fourth floors are the smallest, made up of only 4 rooms each. The second floor is the second largest, comprising 16 rooms. The third floor is not square, each corner juts out making it roughly X-shaped, and it's the largest of the 4 floors. The dungeon is horror-themed, but not quite in the same Halloween style as Spirit's Tomb. There are ghost and Gibdo enemies, and the central gimmick revolves around opening 2 literal tombs within the dungeon. The first of these tombs is found on the first floor in the southwest room. We visit 3 other rooms on our way there. The first room beyond the entrance is dark. We have to light torches and then discover that there's no exit visible. An owl statue in the room tells us to open our ears to the sound of the sword against the wall. Obviously, we have to hit the wall to find a spot to place a bomb. It's located behind a statue on the top left side of the room. We then pass through a room with a maze of blocks in order to reach the tomb. To open the tomb, we need to press 3 switches and light 1 torch. We use the switch hook to press 1 switch with a diamond block. The next switch we depress with the Cane of Samaria. We stand on the third, and the seed shooter is used to light the torch. The second floor holds 2 turnstiles near the center of the floor. We also see the return of crystal switches. Also on the second floor we'll find the dungeon item. It's located in the southeastern corner of the floor in a room with color-changing floor tiles. After changing the color of the entire floor, we get the Power Glove. It's an upgrade to the Power Bracelet, and it allows us to lift large blue statues. It's not unlike the large elephant statues seen in Fae's Shrine in Link's Awakening. The third floor features a second tomb. To open this one, we need to insert tablets into spaces around the base of the tomb. Inserting a tablet opens new paths on the floor, and each tablet is located in one of the corners of the floors. As we hunt these tablets, we will face the mini-boss of the dungeon. It's a Grim Reaper figure. The mini-boss shoots 2 types of energy attacks. One is a large ball, and the other is a cluster of energy balls which break apart and fly in multiple directions. It was the combination of the 2 attacks that helped me figure out how to defeat this boss. The attacks struck me as being similar to those used by Aghanim in A Link to the Past. And sure enough, the trick was to engage the Grim Reaper in a good old-fashioned game of Dead Man's Volley. We hit the large energy balls back at it. When it is hit with its own attack, it will transform into a skull with wings. We then hit the skull with wings with the sword to deal damage. After a few rounds, the boss falls, leaving behind a fairy and a portal to the entrance. I found 2 of the tablets of the tomb on the 3rd floor before getting the dungeon item. The other 2 I managed to round up by using the Power Glove. Using the stairs in the tomb, we can reach the boss door. The boss is called Ramrock. It's a head with 2 detached hands. Not dissimilar to Bongo Bongo and actually a number of bosses found in Nintendo games, including future Zelda games. Ramrock is a boss fought in 4 stages. In the first stage, we use the sword to hit Ramrock's hands back at it to deal damage. After taking a few hits, it gets a new set of crushing hands for the second phase. We need to toss a bomb between its hands so that it crushes it and deals damage in this phase. In the third phase, Ramrock gets a pair of shields. We bounce seeds off a wall to get around its shields and deal damage. In the fourth phase, Ramrock's hands turn into large maces on chains. It will occasionally fling at least one hand at Link. I assumed the Power Glove needed to be used in this phase, and I thought I would have to grab the hand that was thrown towards Link. But I wasn't able to grab it, so I attempted a variety of other things in an attempt to deal damage. That didn't work, so I turned online to get a little help. Turns out I was on the right track with the Power Glove, I was just trying to grab the wrong hand. We need to grab the hand that's still near the body and pull it and then let it go so it snaps back into Ramrock and deals damage. After enough hits, the boss falls. We get a heart container and collect the final essence. It's the falling star. We're told the eternal light of the star acts as a guide to the other essences. The Maku tree then asks us to return to her before we head to the Black Tower to take on Varen. We'll do that next week. If you want to follow along and you haven't already, please subscribe. And a big thank you again to everyone who has already subscribed. You are awesome. I'm Paul Riley, and I will see you next week.